live at the La Flor Dominicana Gourmet Smoke Sessions. I'm Jonathan Carney with LFD and Hacking Gourmet. And tonight we are coming to you live in a snowstorm from Hartford, Connecticut at the Penthouse Cigar and Lounge. There'll be a lot going on the grill today. We've got 50 people in person. Fortunately, we are finally able to be back in person in Connecticut, of all places. In the snow was the first place I picked. So maybe I didn't make the best decision, but we got 50 hungry people here, and we're going to have a great meal this evening and have a lot of fun. As you'll see here, the grill cam will be on for those participating with us at home. No need to start cooking quite yet. But you'll see we have a large grill space here. I've been doing a seafood dish going on tonight that we'll talk about. I've got 45 pounds worth of filet mignon going on here, and we're going to cook today's package as well. One thing I will give you a heads up, those of you cooking along at home with us will notice that I'm cooking different food than what you're cooking at home. I am cooking twin fillets, I am cooking lobster tails, and I do have cheese. However, the snowstorm did not allow anything to get shipped up to me, so it did not arrive. Meatandbone.com tried everything they could to get it to us, but the UPS system with the snowstorms didn't work quite well. So I will be cooking all the same types of items, it'll just be a different variety. So being that I'm in New England tonight, we'll be using a different kind of lobster, but for those I said cooking home, you will notice slight differences, and there'll be a little bit longer cook time on some of your items. So, getting right into the show here, let's get right into it and bring in our meter-rater. He got promoted last session. Kyle Shackleton, our meter-rater, is on the show. I'm about to bring him in live here on the side. Here we go. Kyle Shackleton, welcome aboard, our meter-rater.
Hey, John, how's it going tonight?
Well, you know what? We had an event last night, and we're going to be bringing Tony Gomez on here in just a few minutes. He'll be joining us. Last night, I was in Massachusetts. It was very cold, but I was in a warm environment. And today, I'm cooking outside in a bunch of snowbanks. So you can see some snow here in the grill cam beyond. So that's a little bit challenging, but it's nice, man. I grew up in this. I was born in the cold. I'm actually outside with just my chef jacket on. The grill's keeping me warm. So I'm having a good time. I got a glass of wine and a bottle behind to back me up. And I know that in about 54 minutes, I'm going to be indoors enjoying some steak and warming up a little bit. But how are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm good. Well, thank God you've got that grill going pretty good for you to keep you warm, and obviously having a good spirit and a cigar with the food that's about to be prepared. What are you smoking tonight with us?
So one thing I've got is right now I'm smoking a Ligero 500 cabinet, same cigar I had last night. And then today I'm going to be lighting up after that. I'm going to be lighting up our cigar of the evening, which we'll get into in a little bit. This is the Volcada Valentin, which was made exclusively for this event. I'll be lighting that up, but I've been smoking this Ligero 500 cabinet. But I'm looking forward to getting into it. It is a different size and shape and different length. It's a little bit thinner than the Volcada, so it's truly a special cigar that was made just for this evening, and we'll get into yet to smoke that. So we'll talk about that later on. But Kyle, you've been cooking anything lately? What's been your cuisine of choice? I know you jump around to a lot of different themed cuisines sometimes. What have you been doing lately? Kyle?
Hey, we're seem to be cutting in and out here.
Are you there with us?
I'm here. Yep.
So what have you been preparing lately? Have you been focusing on any dishes lately? Has there been something that's been more in your repertoire?
So for some reason during the winter, I like a lot of pasta. So I've been making a bunch of different pasta dishes. Different amatricianas and different just different types of pasta. Tonight I just made like a Tuscan chicken with like spinach, like sun-fried tomatoes and a cream sauce with some pasta, and then chili also, and the occasional ribeye. So that's kind of been my repertoire as of.
So for those watching at home, I have received a couple text messages that there's a slight delay. The way our program works, if there is a delay, just wait a few moments and our program will make up for that delay. And it should go relatively smoothly from here on out for you. If you are watching at home, just hit the refresh button, jump back in. If you're experiencing any delays in the program's designed to make up for that. So we'll be pretty clear from here on out. Yeah, I'm with you on the pasta thing, Kyle. I tend to eat a lot more pasta during the winter months. It tends to be heavier. I guess it's a warming type cuisine, um, and I tend to avoid that during the summer months. But who am I kidding? I mean, I eat a lot of everything. But I have been doing a lot of pasta dishes myself lately. We
Yeah.
weren't
So
doing
what are
last
you
night.
actually going to be baking here tonight for us at the event?
So here we go. We got some good stuff planned. We've got. Let's jump on our. So here we go. We got the big grill. One thing I want to bring attention to first, I got a massive grill. It's a 9-burner grill, so that's really going to be excellent to cook on. You can see here with the grill cam, I'll be cooking down to the left-hand side of this evening, so keep an eye on that. We will be doing a tempered cooking method, which is that a lot of high heat for a short period of time, and then we'll be letting it rest. We are going to be bringing Tony on here shortly. Here, but you can see him there. We're just confirming that everything's working accurately. So hi, Tony Gomez. We'll give you your official announcement shortly. And then we'll go back to my screen here and take a look at the food. So our package this session from Meat and Bone, let me move the grill cam off to the right here. Our session this month, you can go to meatandbone.com. Jump on there, just search hacking in the search bar, and it'll bring up all of our packages. But our package this month is the 2 Filet Mignon Wagyu Angus cross. So that's a cow that has a genetic background of a Wagyu cattle, which is Japanese cattle. And then that was breeded with a certified Angus cattle here in the United States. So this is a Wagyu Angus cross. This meal was planned, as you see here, there's lots of roses and flowers. This is our Valentine's Day special. This was planned to share with your loved ones, and tonight I'm going to be sharing it with 55 of my loved ones. But 2 Filet Wagyu Angus cross. You can see on there it's got very nice marbling. The fillet is a really unique part of the animal. You can see on the bottom here of the cow. It's towards the back of the cow. It's a very underworked muscle, so it's very, very tender and tends to not have tons of marbling in lower grades. However, once you get to prime Wagyu or even higher gradings, A5, you tend to have very significant marbling in there. It creates great flavor and a great tender cut of meat. But the reason the filet mignon, or the tenderloin in this case, is so tender is it's just not a heavily worked muscle. And we've talked about that in a few of our shows before. I did some flat iron steaks that we talked about, that we did a demonstration on the same concept there. The muscles that tend to be worked the less tend to have the least marbling, and also tend to be the most tender, just because they're not as heavily worked. And then our next item on here is, this is going to be really hard for me to pronounce. It's in Italian. You have a 2-pound cheese wheel that came to you this month. It said 6 ounces on here, but some people received 2-pound cheese wheels of the truffle cheese. That's the Casciotta al Tartufo, and that's in Italian. I don't speak Italian. But you have a great truffle cheese there. Looking forward to trying that. And then you're going to be having the Cooper's salt and pepper finishing salt. Those of you that have watched know I don't really like to use pepper, but we're going to be using it today. The ladies tend to like pepper on their steaks, so you're sharing this with your loved one. We're going to season with salt and pepper this evening. And then there's 1 Caribbean lobster tail. The big difference between Caribbean lobster tails and cool water lobster tails that I'm going to be using tonight are the Caribbean lobster tails. These lobsters live in a much warmer climate, so it allows them to larger size. The way their bodies are built is very different. Most of these Caribbean and warm water lobsters in the southern part of the United States and the Caribbean don't have claws. So their muscles tend to be mostly in their tail. So these Caribbean lobster tails are very big. This is almost a full pound lobster tail that you have in there. So we're looking forward to getting that. I'll show you how to cut that up to prepare it properly. And once we get into that, but a really nice menu prepared for this month. Really looking forward to get this going. And as I said, the only thing different is I'll be using cold water lobster tails this evening. So that will be my only difference. But I do have the cheese. We do all that. As I said, you can jump on meatandbone.com, search hacking, and we'll bring up the La Flor Dominicana Gourmet Smoke Session bundle for this month. And then you can also check out all of our prior bundles, and then we'll get into our March session later in the show. But let's get at it. Kyle, let's bring Tony on board. I'm going to go to the all screen for all of us here in just a little bit, but let's bring Tony Gomez on. So Tony, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to leave you with Kyle for a few moments.
Good to be here, man. How's it going, Kyle?
Hey, Tony. Welcome. How's it going?
I'm all right, man. Glad it's Friday. Ready to relax a little bit.
Relax, have some good food, some good cigars, some good spirits, right?
That's it, man. That's it.
So guys,
So
just real quick on the grill cam before you get going, we're gonna take our salt and pepper. We've got our filet mignons here. So we got our fillets. You can see there's nice marbling in this. I tried to pick one that would be as close to the Wagyu Angus cross. This is traditionally a lot higher marbling than you would see in a filet, so this is beautiful. I've hit this with a little bit of olive oil, and I've rubbed it on both sides here, and then I'm going to just season it lightly. The lobsters we're going to do in about probably 20 minutes, so there's no need to hurry on that. We'll be doing that about halfway through the show. That's only going to take about 30 minutes, and we're going to leave it right on there. But just take your salt and pepper blend that we provided there in your package. We're going to season this up really nicely. I'm working tonight on a propane grill, so there's going to be a lot of flame and fire. So this is going to take a lot of char here, not as much as you would on charcoal. But I'm going to season this up really nicely, very liberally. And we're going to throw it right on the grill. We're going to do about 2 minutes on each side. We're not going to go for grill marks, that's just the show. But 2 minutes on each side, and then we're going to set it aside for a resting period.
Carney,
I
are
don't
you
know.
really
You tell
55 people?
Yeah, we got 55 people in here tonight, and it's unique that you should ask that, Tony, because right here is 45 pounds of beef tenderloin.
Oh my goodness.
And we also have, this is just one of the trays of shrimp, but here tonight we're going to be eating a lemon mustard cream shrimp and scallop casserole, essentially, but it's a mustard lemon cream sauce that I made, and the shrimp are sitting in it here. Beautiful little shrimp, and we've got that inside, and this is just one staying out here warm. And then I'm going to be cutting these up into filet mignon tips at the end, but we'll top it a little bit. But this is what the 55 people are going to be eating. And right now, the cheese that we're featured on the show is actually out front in the bar area, and they are going to be snacking on that while they watch the show. If they're out there watching the show right now, which it's supposed to be on the TV, if it's not, no problem. I'll be checking on that in just a bit. But the cheese is at the bar, so have at it. And we've got some nuts and berries up there, so enjoy. The main event's going to be coming soon.
It's very impressive, dude. Very impressive.
we always seem to get the short end of the stick, Tony. We're sitting here looking at the food that Carney's preparing for a bunch of people.
One other thing I didn't mention.
Yeah, dude, I'm never eating anything as good as whatever Carney's making.
Well, you know what? That's the payback for the Night in Santiago events where you smoke cigars that I can't have and that we can't sell. So this is the payback. But also to raise the bar here tonight, since my package didn't show up, I was left to my own devices to go to a restaurant depot store and Whole Foods Market. So I'm also cooking tonight for myself. I'm cooking a 30-day dry-aged ribeye. Let me put this grill can back up here so you can see this. So I've got this 30-day dry-aged ribeye here. So I got one of those. That's going on. I got two of them. Here's another one. And then I've got a 30-ounce prime bone-in ribeye. So those are all going on the grill. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun here tonight.
Very nice. Hey man, so the fillets, right? You're doing 2 minutes each side, high heat, and then you're taking them off, right?
Yep.
Are you?
So what that's gonna do for us is it's gonna establish.
Are you?
It's gonna establish for us a crust threshold, like I like to call it. So that first sear is really the most important sear, in my opinion. If you get a nice sear on the outside, it starts to create a crust threshold. What the crust threshold is once you have that sear, you've had that chemical reaction with the beef and the fire and the muscle there, and that will create a barrier to absorb evenly the temperature. So that's where the tempered cook comes into play. But you have to have that first sear and establish that crust threshold, because if you don't do that, then it's going to cook relatively unevenly, and the resting periods, you're just going to end up with an uneven cooked steak. So this first sear is always very, very important.
Gotcha. So what about the edges, like the sides?
So with filet mignons, I don't really concern myself with that too much. They're kind of an uneven cut unless you get like a perfect center cut, which would be round. The ones I have are pretty good here. They are relatively round, but I don't usually worry about the sides when it comes to a filet, and because it's just really tender, and I like that crust on the top. You can actually, if you'd like to, right now we're just short of 2 minutes. You can actually put them up on their sides, but you almost kind of have to hold it there So I tend to not do that too often. But here I'm having some fire concerns. But with the bone-in ribeye, I will be resting that up on its own side here. So I'm going to flip these over. And we're in good shape there. We're getting rolling. Hopefully these ribeyes are doing great. We got good heat here. Not a lot of flames. I was cooking these. I was cooking whole beef tenderloins earlier, and it was. If you watch the pre-video I posted online, I did a little setup video where I went live. I was getting my ass kicked by the flames, so it's died down a little bit here, which is nice. But yeah, we got these coming along nicely. Good shape, real good heat, and yeah, we're in good shape.
Nice. And then you'll do 2 minutes each side for now, Carney?
Yeah, 2 minutes on each side.
Cool. Cody, what are you smoking tonight?
This is my payback for Carney making me watch him cook delicious food while I can't cook because I got to be here. So this is something that nobody can buy, but you can bother Carney about it if you want. So I encourage you, bother Carney about it as much as you want. But this is a blend I've been working on for a little while now. It's something we will be releasing at some point this year, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I can't say much more other than that. I do love it, though. It is a fantastic cigar, and I can't wait for everybody to smoke it.
That's good. Do you have any sort of pairing that you're having that with tonight?
You know, I had some beers, and I forgot to put them in the fridge, and so I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
Well, it's Friday, so you've got a lot of time ahead of you to try and prepare for a little bit more innovations.
They are in the fridge now, so I will enjoy them eventually.
Awesome, awesome. What do you have to say about the cigar that we're actually featuring here tonight, which is essentially a La Volcada blend with a rose on it, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, man. La Volcada is, dude, it's one of my favorite cigars. That was a really fun project to work on. You know, it kind of, in its own unique way, honors my father's heritage a little bit, you know, because, you know, the year before we released La Volcada, we released the Andalusian Bull, and the theme of that obviously was Spain, because my father was born in Spain, but he didn't grow up in Spain. He actually grew up in Uruguay, right? His family immigrated there when he was only 2 years old, and Uruguay, it's a very hotly debated thing, but, you know, some people say the tango was invented in Uruguay. Some people say it was invented in Argentina. We tend to believe that it was invented in Uruguay, but either way, it's from that region. And so La Volcada was kind of an homage to the country where my father grew up through the tango. And it's a beautiful cigar. The Churchill size is one of my favorite sizes. The flavors, you know, it's got dark flavors, but it's also got some spice. And it's got a lot of in between. There's a little bit of chocolate in there. I mean, pretty much, I think a lot of anything you want to find in there, you can find it. It's very complex, and it's just a beautiful smoke, man.
Awesome. Smoke session is with our retail partners called Penthouse Cigar and Lounge. If you are looking to pick up this cigar, you can go ahead and reach them at the phone number being displayed on the screen. Give them a call. They'll go ahead and set you up with some boxes too if you want to pick up any of the La Flor Dominicana boxes. And I'm sure that they'll be able to work out some sort of deal, maybe a discount, little cigars that could potentially come with that. So just give them a call if you want the Valentin cigar, or if you want any of the other La Flor Dominicana offerings that we have in our portfolio. I'm sure they'll be able to either A, set you up, or B, we'll get you set up with something future. Carney, what's happening on the grill cam now? There's a little bit more flames than before.
Yeah, I switched over to the left side of the grill, the right side of the grill. The left side's running on a different propane tank. The right side's got a little more gas going, so you can see I loaded. But I want you guys to look behind me on my main screen. Do you recognize that leg on the wall? Well, if you don't,
it's a little far.
That leg is the leg of Vito Gomez.
I know that leg.
This cigar shop actually produced and made and built their very own LFD lounge. We had nothing to do with it, except we provided them with some canvas artwork. And also off to the outside. You can't see it, but this is the only lounge in the country that has a canvas of me up on the wall. We've got the LFD private members lounge in the back. It's freezing. I have it open because when the door's shut, we have bad Wi-Fi. But things are going well. So this is the official LFD lounge and unofficial at the same time. But if anyone's interested, they did it on their own, and I'll be happy to provide you canvases and stuff. But they did a great job. There's great chairs. They got king chairs. They actually have a chair there for when one of us comes to town, whether it's myself, yourself, or your father. So there's a chair off to the side that says "Do not sit," that you're not allowed to sit in unless your name ends with Gomez or Carney. But I don't say that just out of respect. But yeah, this is a really special lounge. You can give them a call. They're great people. Just tell them you're interested in Valentin with a special cigar for the night. They'll get your information, set you up, and take care of you. Very good people. But tonight, it's a members' night essentially. It's only 55 people in here. We were planning on being outdoors as well. We had heaters, but obviously we can't do that because the weather to be appropriate for social distancing in the state of Connecticut. It's been capped at 55 people. So on the grill, I just pulled off these steaks. I gave a little bit extra time if you're following along, just because it wasn't so hot on the left-hand side. And I just flipped my ribeyes around. But the filet mignons are resting right here. A little bit of a rest. So I'll leave that there so you can see from this angle for those following along at home. So you can see when I put them back on the stove top there. The one thing I do want to show quick is we're going to prep this lobster. So if you see this lobster right here, I've essentially cut down the top here. So you go to a restaurant and you have the lobster, it's like sticking out of the tail. They're like, oh, how did you do that? What they do is you usually take scissors, but I have my knife with me today. You cut straight down the middle here. Get a good angle. So you'll cut straight down the middle, being careful not to cut yourself. So let me show you. Of course, I've got my American flag Penthouse cutlery with me this evening. Great knives. Thomas Keller. This is actually Thomas Keller's series. He's one of the world's best chefs, if not the best. And he's also a big cigar smoker. I believe he's been down to Pro Cigar before, and we appreciate him, and I love his knives. So I just cut straight down the center there. Once you cut down the center, you want to rip this open slightly, leaving the tail intact. And essentially what you're going to do is work the meat out with your fingers from the top down. This is a little bit challenging with this one because it's been sitting outdoors and it's partially frozen. You see here we're removing the lobsters from the shell. Meat. It's about time to take those ribeyes off too. There we go, and we just rest that meat, fold in the shell right over the top, and then we rest that meat right directly on top, and we're going to grill those with the shell down here. If you're at home, prep your Caribbean lobster tail right now. Do this process, get that going, be careful not to cut yourself, and then in about 5 minutes, we're going to be throwing that on the stove, on the up the top here. If you're using an oven, a stove. If you're using the stove, I would suggest against it because we're not going to be baking tonight. But you can cover that lobster if you want to, which I'll probably be doing with one of my cans here. But we will be cooking that right on the grill. My other steaks are coming off, and those are resting off to the side. So Tony.
So how long are our participants going to be having the lobster on their grills for?
The Caribbean lobster tail is probably going to go for about 10 to 15 minutes. These are going to be probably 10 at the most, maybe a little bit less. We might go borderline 20 minutes on those Caribbeans. We'll play that by ear, but we're going to be 10 to 15 on mine, 15 to 20 on the Caribbean lobster tails, and we're going to be doing that on high heat because that shell is going to be absorbing that. And if you do have the ability to cover those, or if you're getting ready right now because we're in a resting period and you just prepped your tail, you can grab a cover if you're on your grill, if you're in your house on a saute pan, just cover that saute pan up. Or if you have a grill that has a cover on it, just put the cover on the grill. So get ready to do that because we are going to.
Awesome. Tony, has there been anything that you've been cooking lately? I know you're not, always in the kitchen, but the burger is gone down in quite the story on these gourmet smoke sessions.
Dude, you know, I do spend quite a bit of time in the kitchen, man. You know, ever since COVID started and the shutdowns and everything. So I'm not afraid to get in the kitchen and I can always figure something out to make. You know, I'm decent. I'm decent. I'm not carny, but I'm decent. Lately, you know, I cooked up some nice fillets the other day with some potatoes. You know, I'm always making pastas. A lot of shrimp, dude. You know, we're always cooking a little bit of everything. You know, Friday's pizza night, so I've already ordered some pizzas on Uber Eats. Kind of time it out so that when this is over, it's arriving. That's the plan.
That's great. So pizza's actually, that's a great thing too. And your dad actually, it really enjoys cooking quite a bit. And I imagine there's been some inspiration that you've gained from him as well over the years, correct?
Oh, absolutely, man. The base of everything I know about cooking comes from him. You know, he cooks lunch every day at the factory when he's there. So a lot of the time, you know, I just kind of hang out there and watch what he's doing, ask questions. So he's a fantastic chef, and he can literally do anything. You can learn anything from him. I've attempted his pizza recipe without any success so far. I gotta try that again. That's a little tricky, but I gotta figure that out. Pizza's tough to do, man. Get the dough right.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging. I mean, have you used the grill much? I mean, at our factory, we've got a factory and farm down in the Dominican, vertically integrated company, which is one of the great features of our cigar company that allows us to have some of the great flavorful tobacco in our cigars. But we also have a little bit of a kitchen at our factory, right, Tony?
Yeah, man. We got the parrilla, you know, like the Uruguayan style grill, you know, where we use wood to cook the meats, and we also have a brick pizza oven out there. We can do it all out there, man. Whatever you want. We've even got a pit. We've got a garden with a giant pit there, so you can, you know, you could cook a full pig over fire. Whatever you want, man. We're set up for it. We like to eat. We take it very seriously.
Yeah, so it's quite versatile when you go down there. If you bring the food, we'll go ahead and cook it, or at least we'll try to. You know, we'll figure something out, figure out some sort of method of getting things going. Tony, do you enjoy anything in particular as per the seasons? Like Cardi and I just discussed, we like pasta during the winter, and we eat a little bit heavier. Like I eat a lot of chili actually during the winter. Is there something that you'll enjoy that's seasonal or something?
We don't have seasons here. We have hot and really hot, so it really doesn't matter what time of year it is. I'm pretty much eating the same thing. So no, there's no seasonal influence on anything out here.
You know, sometimes I do forget that there's a little difference of geography between you and I. Well, you said that you're having your pizza tonight, and then I guess the beers will be cold enough. Is there any cigars in particular that you've been enjoying lately, other than the ones that you've been testing or trying to come up with for the upcoming season here?
Well, I'm a very avid tester, Kyle. So if I'm testing something, I'm testing it like every day, you know. So this is pretty much what I'm smoking all day, every day for a while now. You know, for at least a few months. And it's funny because usually, you know, coming up with a new blend, there's you're so there's this whole stress involved with it. You know, like you get the blend, you like it, but then you smoke it again the next day and you hate it, and then you love it again and you hate it, and then IPCPR's around the corner and you're panicking. But this time it's been very chill, very relaxed. I started blending this probably back in March or April of last year. And I think I've gone through probably 50 blends for this cigar. Just small little tweaks here and there, this, that. I've explored every possible option for it. And this is the first time I'm so confident that this blend is perfect, you know, that I'm not going to sweat its release at all for the first time ever.
I can only imagine how like tumultuous that process must be, like when you're creating a blend and, like you said, having that own internal dialogue saying, oh, I like it. The next day you're like, oh, I don't like it any longer or something. That's got to be a real challenge. And I must say that everything that you come up with. I mean, how long have you been down in the Dominican Republic for now, Tony?
Dude, 8 years, man. Wow. Time flies. Wow. 8 years.
And what was your first project when you got down to the Dominican Republic? Not the stuff that, your dad might have said, hey, can you go do this? But like, what was your first blend that you made?
Chapter 1. It was chapter 1. That was the first one. That was kind of me cutting my teeth in this whole thing.
And was there like a large amount of pressure? I mean, coming Lito Gomez, you're going to go ahead and release this new blend that you had created, being the chapter 1. I imagine there was an immense amount of pressure in creating that cigar.
Sure. To be honest, that was probably the least pressure I ever had creating a cigar, because it was just because I was blissfully ignorant to the whole thing. The more I've done it, like, you would think I'd be more confident, but it's actually sometimes the opposite. It's like the more I stress about it, because you learn more, and then you're looking at, you're looking deeper into it than you were before, and so there's more things that are on your mind, So actually, that was probably the most peaceful project I ever did. Funny enough.
That's interesting. I guess it was just like you were free. You didn't have any sort of standard for like what you had already created. This was the first one.
Exactly. Yeah, it's only gotten worse since then.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm going to agree with you on that kind of stuff. I'm not a cigar maker, but when it comes to food, for me, like, I've talked so much trash about my steak cooking to people, and I'm so proud of it that, like, the steaks I make now, there's an expectation that comes along with it to me. So it's almost more challenging now, because like the first time I cooked it, I was like, hey, I'm going to cook you a near perfect steak. People are like, all right, great. Then they have to, like, oh, this is awesome. And then if you do it again, you screw it up. Then they're like, well, you're like a one-hit wonder or something. So I think it's the same thing. You got to keep the same quality and consistency going forward. But mentioning that at the same time, hard to hear me. Oh, my microphone's turned down. That would be making some sense. Luckily, I screamed. But while this is going on, we're going to take this lobster tail. We're going to put it shell down. One other thing we're going to do is we're going to take the lemon. We're going to cut it in half. We're going to hit it with some lemon juice. So boom, it's getting lemon juice. If you have lemon, hit it with that. If you don't, not a big deal. And then we're going to take a little bit of the salt and pepper. Bing, bang. And we're going to take a little bit of olive oil right on top. I like olive oil, so hit it. Take the place of butter. We got flames. So we're just going to leave those there for a bit. I'm going to let those hit the flames. And then I'm going to cover it up with one of my pans here. Or if you're at your house on your saute pan, you can cover that up. As you can see, I'm chopping up the filet mignon up here on the end for our guests here. So this is getting stacked up. The last thing I'm going to do there is hit that with olive oil and salt on the top. I'm going to hit this a little bit because I'm stacking it up now. I want to make sure everybody gets some salt and olive oil. But leave those lobster tails there. We'll also take these fillets we have and we'll put those back on there. We're going to go for 1.5 minutes this time on each side. So there we go.
Carney, how long have those fillets been resting?
So the fillets rested for about 10 minutes that time around. So we went nearly 10 minutes on a rest period. So that was a really good rest period. It's going to reabsorb a lot of that moisture. For example, here, these tenderloins I'm cutting up have been sitting here. I've been cooking these for about 2 hours. You can see there's not as much of a rest period on these. Simply because I'm cutting up full tenderloins and we're serving it, but it's still cooked pretty even. I'd say that's pretty damn good for cooking a whole tenderloin on a grill. But those got 10-minute rest. These have been sitting in this hot pan here. So these have been cooking for about 2 hours, and we're about medium to medium well at the most. Gonna hit this with some olive oil. Olive oil is gonna give it a lot of flavor. We got a lot of nice char there. And we're going to take some of our salt. I got pink Himalayan salt here. We're going to be very liberal with the salt. Hit it with a little bit more. And then we're going to take our tongs. We're going to flip these steaks. This next rest period is going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to go about 5 minutes, and then we're going to have one more cooking session and then one more rest session, and those steaks are going to be done.
Nice. Carney, you're going to be using the salt and olive oil on the stuff that you had prepared for earlier, correct?
Yep, the steaks here, the tenderloins we got, those just got hit with salt and olive oil when we were in between there. I'm going to finish off our steaks for the session. I'm going to finish those off with just a little bit of the seasoning salt that we have here, that salt and pepper blend that came with your packages. So we'll finish it off with that. So I've got a good mixture of medium well and well done steaks and medium rare here, so this is going to be nice for everybody inside.
Great. And for anybody that's just tuning in here, we're actually up at our cigar partners there, Penthouse Cigar and Lounge. We're featuring the Valentin cigar, which is a special cigar that's created for the gourmet smoke sessions. If you're interested in the Valentin cigar, you can go ahead and reach our friends up and at the Penthouse Cigar and Lounge. We'll go ahead and display their phone number and how you can go ahead and get in touch with them. Essentially, this is a special cigar made that's based on the La Volcada blend. The La Volcada blend, if I'm not mistaken, Tony, it's San Andreas wrapper, Dominican filler, and binder, or is the binder different on this one?
The binder on the La Volcada is Brazilian.
Brazilian. Different. So a lot of really great flavors, as Tony described it earlier in the broadcast. You can go ahead and hit a rewind if you want, and we can get a little bit of those tasting notes. But reach out to them if you want to go ahead and get a little Florida Dominicana products from them. They'll be able to set you up, and we'll get you boxes. If you need the boxes, they'll give them a call. We'll get you all squared away. And Barney, how's everything going? You're throwing on some of the other fillets that you had from earlier, and you're finishing.
This is a beef tenderloin cut in half. Look at the size of this freak.
Oh, wow.
That's huge. So I've just got those steaks on. I put my ribeyes back on there as well. So those are there. I'm just cutting up the steaks for the inside here. We're about to serve food exactly at 8 o'clock. So my ribeyes are there. My fillets are on. We're about to yank those fillets off. So let's pull those off for another rest period. We're getting some good char there and some good grill marks, natural grill marks. The lobsters you can see are in the back here, right underneath the Penthouse logo. They're starting to get some heat. Now with your Caribbean lobster tail, I would highly recommend covering that. So turn the heat down if you're going to be covering it in your at home on your saute pan to about medium, and then cover that, and that'll be going to be there for about 10 minutes in that covered state. After I pull these steaks off, I'm going to cover my lobster tails here as well. But I'm going to flip these bad boys. These ribeyes are getting a lot of fat on them. You can tell the difference when I put a ribeye on, it's fat, and the flame just goes straight up to it. So big difference in those two cuts of meat. So yeah, we're also cutting up. I'm cutting up my final. First injury. I'll be right back. You guys are gonna have to entertain for a second.
That's a hacking gourmet first.
This would be a first. So Tony, when yeah. We'll make sure that he's all right in a moment here. Tony, when you went ahead and when you were growing up, something was really appealing to you to try and be a part of, or were you not really sure yet, or how did you come into the industry? Really, is what the question would be.
Man, my dad was never the type to pressure me into anything, and he's not like that with my little brother either. It's always kind of. He always told me, listen, man, do whatever it is that you want to do. Find something that makes you happy, and if you think you'll be happy working with me at La Flor, then I would love to have you. It was that kind of a thing. But his primary message to me was always find something that you love, find something that makes you happy. And so, I considered a lot of options in my life. I went to school. I studied. I had this whole plan to go to grad school and go to film school and study screenwriting. I was an English major, And I'm pretty sure it was sometime at the end of my junior year or beginning of my senior year of college, and I'm pretty sure I was playing beer pong, and I just had this kind of like one of those drunken revelations, and I was like, you know what? Why would I not try it? You know, why would I not give it a shot? If I don't love it, fine. I don't love it, and I try something else. But I would be foolish to pass up an opportunity like this. You know, it's not everybody doesn't get an opportunity like this like I had. You know, so to not give it a shot, I thought would be foolish. So I talked to my dad, and I said, I want to jump on board. I want to give it a shot. I want to be a part of it. And so that was it. After I graduated, I started working as a rep. I covered the state of Florida for 4 years. I was on the road, so I know your life. I know what you do, and that was a very helpful thing for me, because it helped me understand the industry in a way you really wouldn't if you were just on the factory side. There's a whole different side of things, and I learned a lot. It was a very important experience for me, man. And after that, I moved down to DR, and I've been in the factory ever since. So I did end up finding something that I love, and I never really considered leaving. It was pretty much immediately I knew I wanted to stay in the industry.
All right, guys. So this is something that happens in the kitchen. I got some good char in these ribeyes, but I upgraded to very sharp knives, and I got a really nice little cut on my pointer finger here. The thing we're going to do next, I got some water here. We're going to clean this knife off.
There's always a
flavor, an extra flavor.
Yeah, I'm going to hold a knife. I'm going to hold this with a lot of pressure. After I'm done here, I got my glove on, but I'll hold it with a lot of pressure. It was a super clean cut, and fortunately, it wasn't my thumb. The thumb is like one of your only fingers that has a vein, and if you get your thumb going, it just won't stop bleeding. This was right on the end of my fingernail, so it's going to be fine. We'll be in good shape. It happens. But check out the char on these ribeyes. So those ribeyes, since they cooked up and got a lot of char there, those are not going to go on again. They're going to just rest. And then the bone-in one here, it's going to get a little bit more. The lobster's doing fine. So everybody should have, it was perfect timing. If I was going to cut myself, it was going to be that time, as I just finished some explanations for our guests. So we've got some soapy hot water out here, knife, clean this off. This is actually a really good thing to be doing. This is something we haven't done on the Gourmet smoke sessions. We haven't had any injuries, mainly because I usually use shitty knives. So there you go. I feel like I'm on chopped right now, and I'm like stressed out because I gotta get this stuff done.
This is our first aid lesson on Hacking Gourmet.
So we clean this knife off.
Tell them what you're doing. What are you disinfecting with, man?
So I actually have a bleach solution off to the side here that was brought out for me as well, and I have hand sanitizer, but I'm going to be using the bleach solution sanitizer they have. So I just put this on my napkin, and I'm going to hit it with that. There we go. Yeah, first aid lesson.
Okay, now full disinfectant here.
And folks at home, don't worry, he's indestructible.
Yeah.
He survived much worse than this.
There will be steak tonight.
And since it was my blood, there's a piece of steak off to the side here that I was cutting when I was doing it, so I'm just going to set that aside. So this actually worked out really well, kind of. I'm going to have my own piece of beef off to the side here. But the knife's all sanitized. Obviously, you want to be careful to not cut yourself on the knife again. So here we go. All right. Our filet mignons are resting there. The ribeyes are getting close to done. Got a lot of good char on those. The lobster tails are on their way. Where are we at time? We're looking good.
Are those fillets going to go back on again, or are they done?
They're going to get one more run, about a minute and a half on each side, and then a 5-minute rest.
So first run was 2 minutes, second run was a minute and a half, and the last run will be a minute?
Yes. And these are about 8-ounce fillets, so that's about what you do with a 6 to 8-ounce fillet.
So Tony, you went ahead and ran us down basically how you got down to the Dominican and your first cigar being the Chapter 1 that you had made. The Chapter 1, was there profile that you were going for, a certain flavor that you were like, man, this is like what I've always wanted to achieve in a cigar, and I want to try and make this?
No, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, Kyle, to be honest with you. I was just messing around. I was playing around. You know, I just had this idea to box press a chisel. That's how it all started. So it was just, you know, a normal double arrow chisel. We box pressed it, and I just wanted to see what it would look like. And, you know, in the 54 ring gauge, I noticed that the taper, the chisel, it wasn't like enough. You know, it wasn't big enough so the taper was all that noticeable. So I said, okay, let's make it a little bigger. We bumped it up to a 58, and that's when the shape really looked cool, you know? And then it was just a question like, okay, now what? You know, what's this for? What do? And then I figured, why not try to make a blend? All right, so just started playing around, man. Started really just messing around, putting anything together that I could think of, not knowing what the hell I was doing. And, you know, funny enough, that's still what blending kind of is to me, you know? I'm putting shit together, man, you know, and figuring it out from there. You know, usually, you know, you have an idea in your mind when you write a blend down for the first time. Every now and then you get lucky and it's what you thought it would be, but usually it's not. And then you got to tweak and tweak and tweak. So that's what it was. It was just a learning experience. That cigar was a learning experience. You know, everything about it, from the blending to the design, naming it, the packaging, the box. Everything, it was just kind of a learning experience the whole way through, you know. So I never at any point in that cigar had any clue what I was doing, but luckily it did work out in the end.
That's awesome. So it was more or less an experimentation and trial by error when you were blending each and every time.
Exactly. You know, because my old man's never been a hold your hand type person, you know. He's always been more of a just kick you in the ass and throw you in the deep end and let you figure it out. So that's what it was, you know. It was just, you know, tell me, hey, you know, just go, figure it out, do stuff. You know, if you have any questions, ask me, but go learn. And that's what I did.
Did your dad ever give you, Lito Gomez is your father, your dad, and did he ever give you any sort of like start here and then try and go somewhere, or he really was just like, here's the factory, go ahead, have fun, try and figure it out?
So right at the beginning, you know, I spent time in every department one by one when I first got to the factory. You know, so I actually started out in the fermentation department, which is where the tobacco comes in. You know, when the tobacco comes into the factory from the farm, it goes there, and so I spent a bunch of time there. You know, I was helping the guy build the fermentation pile, take it apart, tobacco bales, that whole deal. And from there, I spent a lot of time in classification. And then from there, you know, I spent some time in the rolling room. I learned that I suck at rolling cigars, so I didn't, you know, focus a terrible amount of time on that. But then I spent a lot of time in quality control, which was very important because you don't need to know how to roll a cigar to know what a bad cigar is, but you do need to spend time there figuring out what makes a cigar bad, what goes wrong, what needs to be fixed. And so, you know, I spent a lot of time in quality control. And so, yeah, that was kind of what we did. You know, spend time in every department one by one.
What portion of the actual cigar making do you find to be the most intriguing aspect of it? Is there a specific, like, is it fermentation? Is it growing? Is it the blending? Like, what's the most intriguing portion of cigar making?
To be honest with you, man, I think the coolest, really, you know, it's because it's such a science, you know, and there's so many little details that go into everything, and you could have a perfect crop, and then you put it into the curing barn, and you can destroy that crop in 2 weeks. You know, it's very delicate. It's all very delicate, and you know, you're almost in the hands of God when you're growing too, because a lot of things go wrong that are totally out of your control. And I think that part is very interesting. You know, putting a little pellet into the ground and watching it bloom into something spectacular, and taking it 2 years later, 3 years later, and creating this with it, I think is fascinating.
For sure, and that's a really good point too. The growing process, the fermentation, the curing, I mean, the actual rolling and short-term aging of rolled is the shortest process of it all compared to the growing and the fermentation.
Right. Right. The growing, the fermentation, and the aging. You know, the bulk of the time behind a cigar happens before it's rolled. You know? After it's rolled, you put it in the aging room for a little bit, but you know, if that tobacco was properly fermented, it was properly aged. You don't have to put it in the aging room for 3 years. You know that time was already spent. You know that tobacco already went through a very long process.
Last
you know,
time
it's
on
ready to
fire.
smoke.
1 minute on each side.
So we got
Lobsters are
Carney.
coming along good. Mine are done. So if your Caribbean lobsters there, essentially what you're trying to feel is you feel the lobster and see if there's a little bit of give. So it should be a little bit of give from it. So that'll be tell where you're at. I'm getting ready to plate here. I'll get that ready.
So for the viewers that don't already know, in 1994 is when Florida Dominicana actually started, but we actually didn't have our own farm when we first started. What year did we actually acquire our own farm so we could cultivate our own tobacco there, Tony?
That was in 97 or 98. That was yeah, that was the next step. That was the next necessary step, and it was the most important decision ever made in this company. You know, that's what really gave us the ability to produce the cigars that we produced would not have had otherwise. You know, there's massive advantages to growing your own tobacco.
For sure. I mean, to be able to control the whole process of how the cigar is made in the first steps of growing the tobacco, which is so important because you need the healthy soil, you need the healthy root system, you need the healthy plant. So it's really great that we were able to have that. I'm going to check in with Carney here. It looks like he's starting to plate some items. Carney, what do you have going on there?
Right now, I just flipped the filet mignons, and I took the lobster tails off, and I put those on my plate here. So you'll see off to the side here. I'll give you a little bit of view of my plating. So I got the lobster tails off to the side here. I've got a lemon that I'm going to cut up. Serve on the side here.
I'm crashing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm
I
crashing the
introduced
party.
to you Sean from Sean Christian Leather in the house.
Where's the camera?
We're live. We're right here.
Oh, look at this. We're live in the beautiful city of Hartford, Connecticut, y'all.
Yep.
Penthouse
That is
Cigar Lounge. This is
fantastic
where we're at.
beard, my friend.
He loves your
Fantastic
beard.
I love it too. Thank you, guys.
So I got the lobster tails here. We finished all the food for the 45 guests. The 55 guests inside. Let's take these fillets off and give it a little bit of a rest. It's going to be about 5 minutes. Then we're going to slice those up. But I did take a little bit of lemon juice and put that over the top of the lobster. Just to give it a little more flavor. If we're plating professionally here, we're going to clean up the sides and edges of our plate. One of the challenges I had with my plate today, I had it sitting off to the side and I had to wipe the snow off. Remind me to not do these outdoors during the winter.
You love it, man. You're built for that shit.
Yeah, I guess. So these, by the way, those ribeyes came out freaking fantastic. Tons of char in it, but look at this. This is the rib cap. So if you can see it, the rib cap with all that char came out medium rare. Fantastic. So that shows you what resting can do and what you can do with fire and you can do with char. It really gives it a ton of flavor. So if you're at home,
Carney, are you doing a 10-minute grill?
pardon? All right, so it seems like we might have lost some of our guests here, but we're getting ready to finish this up. We got our fillets resting here off to the side. We're gonna slice those up here soon. I'm doing a little snacking. If you've been watching us, we did have an injury today. I did cut my finger, but we used the correct process there to clean up. But we're gonna bring this to a little bit of an end. Again, if you go to hackinggourmet.com, you can see any of our sessions coming up. Also here you can go to meatandbone.com where you can jump and buy this package. We've got our guest coming back in slowly, so Kyle will be joining us in just a moment again. But this package again is available at meatandbone.com. Just go to the search bar and type in hacking. So Kyle, welcome back. Welcome back, Kyle.
All right, back in action.
So I was just talking about the Meat and Bone website and how our guests can also go to hackinggourmet.com. So here's the Hacking Gourmet website. All of the Florida Dominicana gourmet smoke sessions are listed there. Just click on smoke sessions. Gourmet smoke sessions. You can also check out any of our episodes on there as well and see upcoming sessions, which links directly to Meat and Bone and lfdcigars.com. So our next session, which is going to be coming up, is in March. It's going to be on St. Patrick's Day, and I think Tony might not be with us right now, but we'll send him away and maybe get him back. But our March session will be a celebration of St. Patrick's Day. We have something very special planned. We're going to be with Fox Cigar out in Gilbert, Arizona, and Scottsdale, Arizona. We'll be live in person at the Gilbert store, and the cigars will be announced shortly here on the show. So our March session, here we go. Our March session's not popping up. Technical difficulties left and right today. I will pull that March session up, but we will be with, as I said, with Fox Cigar in Gilbert, Arizona. We'll have a special cigar there. It's called La Machata de Oro, which means pot of gold. It'll be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. We'll be going live that evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. So we will be on the West Coast for that, but we will have a great show, and I'm going to be pulling this up for you shortly right here. We've got the Fox March session. So here is that. So this will be at Fox Tobacco, Gilbert, Arizona, live here, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, Arizona time, and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be having a great food menu for that one here. It's going to be a tri-tip dinner. So we have that here. It'll be a prime tri-tip preparation. It'll also come with scallops with that as well, and we're going to be having wasabi sauce. So we're doing wasabi scallops. We're going to be adding some cheeses to that as well. But the highlight will be an entire tri-tip roast that we're using. So we're looking forward to that, and that will be with Fox Cigars, foxcigar.com, March 17th. And we're really excited to get out La Machata de Oro, which is pot of gold in Spanish, and that'll be a really special cigar, which we do have featured right here at the top of the screen. And you can see that there. It's based off of our cigar formerly known as M, and that's currently in production and will be available leading up to the event here in the next few weeks and on the day of the evening. So we're really excited about the March session there. So that should be a fun time. I'm also looking forward to doing some tri-tip. Tri-tip's a really underrated cut of meat. I'm going to plate this up here, Kyle. Let's go to the grill cam. Grill cam always sponsored by meatandbone.com. Our friends at meatandbone.com. They ship all over the country, just not into snowstorms. But I'm going to slice this up nice and thin. These should be about medium rare to medium. You can really see here how that resting period plays such a big role. Yeah, this has got some great marbling on it. For a filet. Fantastic. Got some rosemary here on the side, just for some garnish. And get it with a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of olive oil just for flavor. Parsley on top of the lobster and the lemon. And there we go. Here's your twin lobster, your twin filet Angus cross filet mignon dinner for two. Our second filet is right here off to the side. So we're looking forward to that. I'm about to jump inside and serve everyone, but I think this is a really nice plate and a really nice representation for the month of love, which is February and our Valentine's Day week here. This is a great dish to share with your loved ones, or even just on your own. But you can tell here that resting period, the tempered cook went really well, and I'm really happy with the way this dish came out. I'm all done with everything indoors as well, so as soon as I walk inside, everybody's going to be able to eat and get served. And it was an end to a really unique session. We scrambled a lot. We had an injury. We had some technical issues because of the cold weather and the Wi-Fi outside here, but all in all, it went really well, Kyle. I think we succeeded.
We did. As long as you've got all your fingers and toes, and everybody walks home tonight, we're good.
Absolutely. So Tony, I know he's not with us. The show is over. We appreciate him coming on with us as the experience. That's really what it's about, sitting back, having cigars, having some fine wine, drinks, non-alcoholic beverages as well. But it's really about the food. So we thank you for joining us for session number 5 here in Hartford, Connecticut with the Penthouse Cigar and Lounge. We appreciate our friends here, and I'm looking forward to a great evening. We'll see you again on March 17th, that's St. Patrick's Day. We'll be in Gilbert, Arizona, as I said, and we'll be going live on Facebook and YouTube. You can check us out anytime on hackinggourmet.com. You can also check our partners page out, meatandbone.com, and always, if you're interested in the cigars, check out Cigar and Lounge here, the Penthouse. They can take care of you for the Valentin cigar if you're interested in adding that to your collection. And if you're interested in the LFD cigars, jump on lfdcigars.com to learn more about that. So until next time, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all enjoyed the cigars. We made it through. I have all my fingers. I have a great looking plate I'm going to take a picture of. We'll post that online. But we will see you all next time. Thank you, Kyle. Be well.
See you guys.